Greetings. This is Scholar Saunders Scene. What's current? YNW Melly. This is something I learned in high school. About it was during a program called Youth Ambassadors of America, and they were pretty much educating us on sexual health and abstinence and being careful. That's the ABCs. Is it you abstain or you be careful? BC. Um, uh, so they also had programs, for engaging with other students, other people in the world, and they taught you that. They taught me that your body language, how you speak, and what you speak go in that order. Your body language, speaks volumes. It says a whole lot about your character and who you are and how you present yourself. So I I would have to say that YNW Melly has the absolute the most cavalier sensibility for somebody that has a double murder hanging over their head, his head. He has the composure of an ice cube, and then he even flashes a smile in the courtroom and says, "I'm going home. I'm going home." He says that twice before leaving. And he was just denied bond on September 22nd of this year. And it just seems to me that he has taken on, a whole, exterior of someone that is not phased. He's completely unfazed by the charges against him, partially due to this revelation that uh, prosecutorial misconduct has surfaced. Detective Moretti apparently um, robbed his YNW Melly's mother of her phone unlawfully without a warrant or any cause, and this could sway the entire situation. While he remains incarcerated, he still has a chance. He has a breath of life left in him. In this case, to do something that's monumental, something that's substantial, something that could get him his freedom. But I'm just looking at him. He's got the orange jumpsuit. He's got the cold steel cuffs of justice wrapped around his wrists, and he's just looking very calm, collected, composed, and it just seems like he doesn't have a care in the world, even though he's facing double murder in Florida, where they do carry the death penalty. If he's convicted, he will most likely either spend the rest of his life behind bars or be sent to a table to have a lethal injection put into his arm. That's the only way out. But the defense seems like they're very, they seem like they have a good head about themselves. They seem like they can prevail. It seems that way. We have to remember that they have another trial coming up. I think I want to say next month. Why? So a retrial begins on October 9th, and he will still be in jail all the way up until that time. But it appears to be that he is aware of his condition, but not expressing it. He's not, overjoyed or anything like that. He's remaining very reserved and ponderous and thoughtful and pensive. Um, it seems to be that way anyway. I mean, I don't know what's going on in his head. I couldn't imagine facing two bodies in Florida, Broward County. That would just be a whole lot for me. That would just be too much. It'd be too much. I mean, I wouldn't break down and cry, I don't think, or something like that, but the psychological impact, the toll that would take, I probably, uh, just take my lumps and say, well, I did it, and go on with whatever fate would come my way. But not YNW Melly. He's a very special kind of character. He's a very, special case. The way he conducts himself, the way he is able to bring himself to a position of knowing what he wants out of life and knowing what he's doing, that speaks volumes. Without him even speaking or saying a few words, I'm going home. I'm going home. He's just that confident. He's just that arrogant. And I mean that in the best possible senses as well. It seems like he knows what he's doing. And the defense team knows what they're doing, apparently. They know how to show that this evidence that was withheld is crucial to the whole prosecution. It's crucial to the whole trial. And and the idea of the case resuming, or a retrial commencing, that's all to it. That's the best part of the whole issue. That's the whole issue in a nutshell. That's the whole issue brought together. That's what we have to consider. That's what we have to know. We have to have that in our minds to say that YNW Melly is the best case, is in better hands than most. Whatever they organize for this defense team, and I'm sure he's paying out the wazoo for this defense team. Um, he's definitely paying probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars for this defense, and that's incumbent upon him being able to produce again, and produce new music. I don't mean to say he's a beat maker or something like that, producer. I mean create, build, make. In order to make that kind of money, you know, again, he has to rely on. Uh, I'm just assuming here donations and past performance on his videos on YouTube and whatever ways he could have had streaming services. You know, all that has to come into account, and it's just very revealing. His smile, his ability to carry himself, not with his head down, not with tears coming out of his eyes or anything like that. He's completely. It looks like he's within the moment, within time, within reality. He's not showing emotion because he knows. I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm not saying he's innocent. I'm just saying that he has a way about him that appears to make him seem like he is not guilty. But what will it say for the jury, this new jury in this retrial? What will they think about the Detective Moretti evidence that was withheld? How will they convey a sense of understanding and a sense of true thinking? How will they do that? How will they bring about themselves to be in a position of showing that YNW Melly is in fact not guilty? How will they do that? Well, one way is to show that his body language corresponds with their defense. If he wilds out in the courtroom, starts throwing stuff, start cussing at the judge, it's like dead. Anybody seen Dead Presidents? Classic film. Classic film. Lorenz Tate, he is in the courtroom. This is the sentencing phase. He was found guilty, and he said 25 to life. He said 25 to life. What? 25 to life? Man, F you. And he picks up the chair and throws it at the judge. That was so wow. That was so wow. That was crazy. He said 25 to life. He said life. What you mean life? Man, mother, you like he's just hey, that's not YNW Melly. YNW Melly is like kept his hands together, got the the shackles on him, got the cufflinks, the cold steel of justice, and he's just sitting there. He's just taking it all in, while the defense team and other people, personnel from I think different newspaper outlets, they were joined in the courtroom. That's all it took. That's all it took. It presented itself to be something of value, something of worth to continue to be on the vanguard of justice. That's the clear-cut example of what it meant for YNW Melly, because he's just sitting there. He's just sitting there. He cracks like a half smile. He cracks like that, And then he has a full-blown smile. He goes, I'm going home. I'm going home. Because he's sensing. He doesn't have the full understanding, I don't think, of the situation. Because this could be shot down. This could be dismissed as well. The Moretti case. So there's a whole host of different ways to look at this. Here's a quote from the article on AllHipHop.com. It's by Justin Ivey, I think. That could be the photo. I think that's it because they have a photo here. Okay. The information provided by Assistant State Attorney Christine Bradley indicates that Detective Moretti executed a search warrant outside of his jurisdiction and therefore illegally. YNW Melly's lawyers argued, quote, it would have allowed the defense to question him as whether he committed a robbery or battery on YNW Melly's mother, Jamie King, when he unlawfully took her phone. It would have shown that Detective Moretti was willing to lie as to who served the search warrant, an official court order, and it would have shown that Detective Moretti was willing to conspire with Deputy Gorell to obstruct justice and to create false filings. This was impeachment evidence favorable to the defendant. Unquote. So, of course, we have to remember his name is Jamel Demons. Unfortunate last name. I just say some people have really unfortunate last names. But he kept with it. He didn't change it. So he's accused of killing his two friends way back in 2018. He was quoting from the article. He was tried for murder this past summer, but the proceedings ended in a mistrial. Jury selection from a retrial is scheduled to begin in October. So he's only 24 years old. He's a young guy, very young man. They say, the cliche, he has his whole life ahead of him. Well, we'll see how long that life lasts, if he's convicted of these murders and sentenced to death. or we'll see how dragging along his life would be if he is sentenced to life in prison. I'll continue with the quote from the legal team. Quote, rather than presenting this to the defense so that the defense could have used it during the first trial, the state withheld this information. YNW Melly's legal team contended. Quote, in fact, it is believed the highest levels of the state attorney's office made determinations to not provide it to the defense, and secondly, not to pursue the internal affairs investigation. This was the institutional policy of the state attorney's office, not just one prosecutor. This evidence was suppressed by the state. This is what makes it so interesting to me. The process of the law and the word, the verbiage, and like I don't want to call it problem circumstance, but like just the whole functioning of the law system, intrigues me. I mean, you have two grisly murders, either attached or not attached to YNW Melly. There's a sense that he took it upon himself, to know what it's like to be in a court setting, despite the allegations that he was winking at his, the victim's mother, and he has that killer smile, very killer smile. Not saying he's a killer. I'm saying his smile is like very sharp and very, you know, you know, it's very unsettling almost. It's almost, it's arresting. Um, but I just like the function of the court and the way they speak and the words they use and how it almost clashes against all the slang and misinformation and why people say, "Oh, he's very articulate," like that's how I say, "Oh, well, he's very articulate." That's for the way that people perceive most rappers and by extension black people as a whole, because that's what people try to equate. They try to equate, oh, rap is black. It is in a sense, but not every black person necessarily listens to rap or supports the whole hip hop culture or genre. But YNW Melly has a little bit of, it's almost like you're playing football. He has another play ahead of him. They have another opportunity to get to the goal, and they have this Moretti break in the case. They have him, you know, in their sights. Have given him every opportunity to say that he's, not a part of this whole issue. Or I should better say that he's a part of the problem, not the solution. For the state to withhold, allegedly, these findings about Detective Moretti, that just casts a pale, light on the idea of who he is and what he's about. It gives an ugly impression onto what it is to make someone so very unappreciative and very, almost sloppy in his police work. He's very if he did in fact, take the phone from YNW Melly's mother and do this without a warrant or a cause, that just goes to show you how sloppy and disgusting his police work was, and that's what gave YNW that Melly that complete understanding of who he was, who with that smile, and that I'm going home. He knew in his mind that he would be able to do that. He knew in his mind that he could show that people are really focused on who he is and what he's about. That's the power of this. That's the greatness of this. To show you that there's something special about this case. This is one of the largest hip hop stories of the past 5 to 10 years, I'd say, for criminality. And there's been some criminality going on in hip hop, but this one takes the cake, as that cliche goes. I like cliches. It just, I mean, I wouldn't write cliches most likely. I mean, I'm not trying to write cliches, but when you're speaking, you gotta say at the end of the day, you gotta say, takes the cake. You gotta say all these cliches and chestnuts and well-worn old saws because it just gets to the point faster. You know exactly what somebody means. We say, "Oh, that's just cliche." Yeah, well, it is cliche. Yes, I know. No kidding. But you know what? It also gets me when people say, nobody says that. Well, that's a good thing. Nobody has to say it. I said it. I'm the first one to say it then. It's not cliche. I digress. YNW Melly. I don't know about you, sir. I don't know about you, young man. I don't know about you. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out myself. But you got this retrial coming up, sir. You got this retrial. And it stands, you know, with this new amount of evidence to be more in your favor than most. You had wins and losses, and then a mistrial, or just a mistrial. I always get confused. I don't know if they're the same thing. Mistrial and hung jury. Please, if somebody educate me. I've looked it up like 3 or 4 times. I still don't understand the difference. But YNW Melly has every opportunity to show himself to be a gentleman and show himself to be someone who is of sound mind, because that's probably next. They'll try to say, he was, you know, not in his right mind. He had considered only the irrationality of the case. So, with that being said, YNW Melly has to continue to eat the worst food in the world, probably do yoga, walk dogs. It's getting cooler now, even in Florida. So they probably have the heat going. Or if not, it's probably still hot. And they got the air conditioner on. He's within, I guess, a safer environment than if he was probably out on the streets. Because his ops, the people that were connected to the double murders, they'll probably be searching for him. He's probably going to have to move to a different state, maybe a different country. I don't know what. But if he is in fact, exonerated. But I see him, trying to break out of his, I don't know. It just seems very strange. His body language is very composed, but it's also expressive in the sense that he's saying, I want to go home. I'm going home. And he's flashing that radiant smile, bright smile, crazy looking smile. But that's just him. That could just be his persona. That could just be him being himself. So if he is able to show that he is of value and of worth and of sound mind and creates in his mind the capacity to be something that is gorgeous in the sense of a brilliant life, that would be something that would be substantial. That would be something that is great because that's what is all this is about. This is all about life. This is a life and death situation, literally. So he would have to make it a beautiful case. That he has to work with his legal team. There, I saw the one of the lawyers give him a fist bump. They're like, man, we got this. Their demeanor is expressing something that they're saying, yeah, we got this in the bag. We might have had that mistrial the first time. That's the reason why we had a mistrial, because they knew there was something else to this. There's another issue. And not let me stop and say I got two people in the live viewership. Show yourself in the chat room and don't forget to donate $10 or $20 to this machine. I appreciate it very much. Thank you. So whoever you are, I don't know who you are, but whatever you're doing, just type into the live chat and let us know who you are and what you're about. Okay. So if there's any salute, Black Cuffy, all right. Black Cuffy. Black Cuddy, excuse me. Like F's. Black Cuddy. Salute. Respect. Goal. Salute. Respect the goal and thanks. And I got my like. All right, see, that's what you gotta do. You gotta engage the audience. Yes. There was two. There was one person in here. Now there's two. I'm fully, responding to them. And YNW Melly. I'm shaking my head because I just don't know what to make. I don't know what to make of it. I mean, it seems like it would be so easy and so clear cut to say, "Oh well, detective messed up. He fumbled the bag. He fumbled the ball, or whatever the case may be, and he made it. He made it an issue." Black Cuddy's in the live chat. He's saying he's driving. Respect. Hey, if you're driving, I don't know what you're doing. Pull over to the side or something like that. I don't want you to crash on my live because you're typing. I'm not going to type anything more than that. I was already typing when I just saw you saying I'm driving. I'm driving. Respect. So salute. No respect to you. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate the viewership. Now it's down to 0 because he's gone. And whoever else is in here is gone. Fine, it's all right. Just this case. It's just. I think this is my third or fourth story. Following this case. It's so intriguing. It's so fascinating to see how this young man has. That's the other cliche. Yeah. He has his whole life ahead of him. We'll see. See what happens. Broward County, Florida don't play around. They do not play. They do not play. They have every reason and every cause to be completely punitive in their regard. So YNW Melly, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with you, and good night and good luck, sir. All right. It is officially time. This is what is this, the 11th hour? This is like beyond the 11th hour. It's like 11:59. Well, it's the same hour, I guess. Um, we're going to talk about ruler of the kingdom of the air, and we're going to discuss the fact that I have not yet been chosen. I have not been shown to be of worth yet by the judges. I'm sure they deliberated days or weeks ago. When they came across my story, they're like, but I like it. That's the only thing that I can say. I love my story. I'm not just saying that. It's my best story that I've ever written. It is. And it's close competition. There's vessel control about a spaceship saving another spaceship. So I just took that upon myself and realized it. It's very fascinating to be in the running. I'm glad they allow everybody to be in it without charge, besides your vocal membership. That's the only charge. But just to enter, it doesn't. And you can enter as many times as you want. It doesn't make a difference. So that's where it comes down to. And we're coming down to the final countdown. Get a copyright strike for that. I I ran this thing into the ground for the past 2 months, almost, or over 2 months, maybe. But it's just to get people to understand that you have to put in the work. This is a process. You have to respect the process, as Joel Embiid would say. You have to understand that there's a, a gap between the mind and whatever you choose to do. That's what's so crucial. You can choose to do whatever the hell you want to do, especially in America, where it's possible to do something more possible than anywhere probably in the world. That's why they say this is the noblest country of all time, because of its founding principles and ethics and ideals. That's what makes it special. That's what creates itself to be something that is so crucial, so important, it's so valuable. It creates something that is specific and unyielding. It is a great feeling to know that you have the best intentions and you're able to convey those in story form and videos and everything like that, all on this thing we call the internet. Unbelievable. Just almost 30 years ago, people didn't even know what the internet was, or over 30 years ago. It was just a hobbyist thing. It was just maybe a few text pages of, you know, maybe a chat room. That's about it. Then it just blew up. Social media, social networking, YouTube, all kinds of things like that. That's what makes it so special. The fact that we have these tools for us to grow and get money from. 'Cause let's not get it twisted. It's all about this dollar. That's why I'm on here this morning. Haven't gotten a dollar one, trying to get to $80. People are holding out on me. It's funny. I'm gonna get this paid. I already got paid. That's what's encouraging. My stories. I haven't gotten a lot of tips in a long time, but I've been getting reads still, and that's encouraging. That's what makes things possible. That's what makes things very substantial and brings to the fore the idea of being great. That's my strive to be, is to be great in my own eyes, not in anyone else's eyes, not secondhanded. That's what I want to say. That's what I want to do. That's what's so intriguing and worthwhile when it comes to writing these stories. Even if I don't win the challenge, the story itself exists. It's alive. We read from the text and we say, he says, she did, she does. When we talk about the text itself, it's a living text. That's one of the coolest things I've ever experienced when I was in school. You know, they said use the present tense when you're describing characters and situations from novels and stories. I just thought that was so cool. How they in the text they say it in the past tense usually, and then you say it in the present tense. That was empowering to me. It gave me a sense of worth, a sense of well-being. It gave me a sense of a knowledge that I didn't think I could muster. It gave me all the ideas and potentialities that I could conjure up in my mind. I was never good at essays. I was terrible, terrible at essays, terrible at essays. I knew how to get down my ideas, but I couldn't express them in the way that they should have been. I would get like C's, maybe D's. Last one I got was a B, but I think that's because I would have gotten an A if I got it in on time. I was terrible with timing, terrible. Talking about CPT, color people time. It reigned supreme in my brain. Really, it really did. It created something that was, extremely powerful. And that's what this story did. It shot in my arm the idea of being totally free, and totally able to write whatever the hell I wanted to write. It truly gave me the impetus for being the one and only person who could write this story. Because it is roman au clay. It is about other people that are real and they've just been fictionalized, as I've said on many other occasions. I just think that's the coolest thing too. You can do that. And there's so many examples. Devil Wears Prada is one example, and so many more. Uh, I like the fact that you can see these characters, you can envision them, you can hear them. That's one thing I heard about from August Wilson and Toni Morrison, the late great playwright and novelist, respectively. They said, one thing August Wilson said was, "How do I get my characters to speak?" And there was another person that said, "You don't. You listen to them." And he thought he was trying to be, snickety or smart aleck. But he understood he was right. And Toni Morrison said the same thing. You got to listen to your characters. Then you got to tell them to shut up. So you got to be able to balance that. But I think that's so true. I listen to my characters. I do not force them to speak. I hear a voice in my head, and it's like, okay, that's what she wants to say. I'm gonna let her say it. See what she wants to say. Speak your piece. And the timing of this story couldn't be better. It's like we're on an all-time high. You know, if we're getting to this discussion, I know I'm lagging. I'm slow. It's early in the morning. I'm just trying out, seeing what people are saying and doing. I'm trying to, I know I'm rambling here, but and then the lights in my eyes are like crazy, so I'm just trying my best, and I'm just flowing from the brain. I have no notes. I studied the article I was talking about. I'm just voicing what I was saying, and it's gonna give me a chance to do something that I didn't do before. It's gonna give me a chance to say, it's gonna give me a chance to say whatever I want. That's what's gonna give me the opportunity to do. It's gonna give me a chance to say that I'm focused on whatever idea that comes my way. That's important because it's the weirdest thing. We go like the success and the achievement part. Everybody's on the bandwagon. Oh, you're great, you're wonderful. Once you slip up, boom, they disappear. Boom, they're gone. They're just like you're square one. Square one is you struggling. Like right now, I'm struggling to get this YouTube channel popping. I'm still looking at the viewership at 0. Right now, I have 1 like. Most people I saw in here were 2. Either people are not watching or don't care or something like that. But once you hit big, oh my God, he's so great. But now you weren't saying that back when I was on this time, on this level. You weren't saying that too much. You weren't saying that. So that's where it ends right there. That's the part that I like the most, the challenge. I got 17 minutes left before I stop this mischief. But in the time that I'm trying to fill, I want to try to fill it with substance. I want to try to give a little game just to all those out there that are considering what it really means to be a man. You have to be, I don't care your sexual preference, or you're homosexual, heterosexual, I don't really care. You're a man, you're a man. You stay on your word, stay on your truth. Just like Green Stockwell in the story, uh, ruler of the kingdom of the air, RKA. He stood on his principles. He stands on his principles. See? Caught myself. He stands on his principles. He stands on his ideas. He stands on his thought, his word. And he continues to find different ways to understand what is going on in his son's life and his own life. He wants to be within the boundaries of good parenting, good uh, being a good husband. He wants to be within all those bounds. He has that capacity. And you have the wife Gambina, who's very strong. I guess got a review yesterday saying they were strong parents. I was like, yes, that's what I wanted. This is in the 11th hour. And the young lady said, they were strong parents. I was like, I did my job. I like when that's confirmation. My dad says confirmation all the time on the mystical sense, on a faith-based sense. I say confirmation on reality, confirmation on what's true, what's right. That's what I say confirmation on. But this story is not to be construed as something that is blasphemous, but it is a part of the Christian mythology, with some people say is blasphemy, obviously. But we have to look into the past. Go back to the Egyptians, go back to the Greeks, go back to the Romans. So many more, so many more. They had gods and goddesses that they worshipped and praised and sacrificed to. And people don't even consider that anymore. We've converted them into brand names and different ideas. The Greek god Nike, Victory. It's a shoe company, an apparel company now, multi-billion apparel and sneaker company. Just to give it one example, Apollo. Apollo was a space program. Apollo 11 went to the moon. I don't know what happened with Apollo 12. I'm gonna look that up real quick. What happened to Apollo 12? Okay, Apollo 12 was the second to land on the moon. Charlie talked about. Oh my gosh! I tell you, the greatest success, the first they're talking about Apollo 11. Then it's like Apollo 12, man, whatever. Oh my God, Apollo 13 that was a failed mission. Like, it's the weirdest thing we have. I swear it's weird. It's very strange. It's very strange. So, with that being said, you have to understand the differences between what is the attention that's paid. That's from this play by Arthur Miller, Death of a Salesman. Excuse me. So, take into account the fact that this is the day of judgment, the day where we get to see the final results of this story. It just warms my heart no matter what happens. That's another cliche and another example of how the heart is used as something that's emotional or something like that. I can't escape it. I'm guilty of it too. Pardon me. Pardon me. No, but if you take into account the fact that so many people are engaged in the idea of having a story and have it go through and have it sent to so many people, and that is what's most important. That's what is key. This thing we call the internet, the World Wide Web, whatever you want to call it, has given so many opportunities to people to start their own businesses, to run their own channels on YouTube. They have their own stories. It's a beautiful thing. It's so beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful opportunity and a great time to be alive. What a time to be alive. I'm not gonna say much more. I got a copyright strike. I'm just surprised that there's not so many viewers this morning. I was in the viewership last week. It must be a certain day. Must be Fridays. Fridays in the morning, early in the morning. That's when it's the best. But anyway, ruler of the kingdom of the air. Like I said, there's not a whole lot that has, more can be said. We're working on like the bones now. But it's something that came out of my mind and went into the thoughts of tens of people, maybe. I don't know. I don't know how many people, but that's the thing. The viewer count only makes sense. It only is the viewer count of the readership of the stories only corresponds to tiebreakers. That's the only time it corresponds to. You're breaking a tie. Whoever has the most reads wins. It's just the nature of the beast. It's something you have to realize. And I know somebody out there has 100,000 reads and 700 comments, something like that. They don't tell you. They don't teach you that. They withhold that information. They allow you to wonder and speculate and think about if it's at all possible. So the best remedy for all of this is to just be creative, just be new, just be fresh, just keep writing, keep videoing, keep snapping pictures, painting, sculpting, not to lump painting and sculpting in with snapping pictures, because snapping pictures is not an art necessarily. I mean, it could be now that we have technology that can arrange different photographs into certain patterns to make it seem like art or come close to art. But that's as close as you can get to it. If you have the notion to do something, just do it and do it well and do it with greatness and achieve for yourself, not for others. Just achieve in your own mind. That's how I see it. Rule of the kingdom of the air. There's no telling what will happen in the next few hours. But I know in my mind that I did my very best to create something that was of substance and of greatness in my mind, in my eyes. That's the key to self-esteem. It's self-esteem. It's the esteem you give yourself. Nobody can affect your self-esteem. They can affect you and your consciousness and your thoughts, but they can't take away from your self-esteem, the esteem you have for your own being, your own spirit. That's the power of the written word as well. The power that you have strength and control over the language, in this case, the English language. Why, why is the child born into America, the English speaking country, the language that is supposed to be the greatest, according to Ayn Rand in her book, Introduction to Objectivist Epistemology. She gave that exact estimation. And that's what's so cool. That's what I think is so cool because it just ties into it. It just goes right back to it, and it makes it all the better. It makes it better than before. It creates something that is beyond great. It's just wonderful. It's a wonderful thing to realize this. So, rule of the kingdom of the air represents something that is a product of my mind. I've had thousands of other products. Trust me. I don't have time to go into all of them, but this particular story has given me every ounce of enjoyment and satisfaction. I've been able to live a life that's complete and full without any contradictions. And there's no contradictions in this story. There's, you know, tumult, or there's some kind of noisy, uproar sometimes. Um, but other than that, it's all about the thought, the thinking that goes into the story, and brings together every bit of understanding that goes into it. Every bit, every ounce. I noticed the title is cumbersome, it's kind of weighty, it's kind of long. I understand that the characters may not be, you know, um, all the characters. All the characters aren't as many. Um, don't get featured as long like the grandmother, but that's okay. That's fine with me. And it's like, this is how unselfish and selfless and altruistic people are. Not when it comes to my stories. People aren't unselfish and selfless and altruistic when that happens. They're not, running out to see, oh, what is this story? I have to read the story or as a sacrifice to him. And I don't want that. I don't need that. I'm just showing you how there's a dearth in the way that people convey themselves to be and what they really are. Oh, I'm selfless. I'm unselfish. You're just selfish. Hardly, I mean, 99.9% of the time, selfishness is used as a pejorative. And then there's a like really simple and kind of goofy and weird way of saying it. Oh, well, I'm just selfish. I just like this and that. And then, oh, you're just selfish. You're all right. You're just thinking about yourself. That's all right. That's good. You should have a day. You should have me time. You should have a me day. For me, it's me day every day. I'm completely selfish. Totally selfish. Completely. Without regard. That's what this story is all about. It's all about selfishness. It's all about caring for your own kind, your own offspring, and not caring what anyone else is going to say about your quest to better understand your own son. That is the theme of this beyond what I can conceive, but that's the main thrust of what this story is about. That's the whole clue. That's the whole thought process behind it. And I didn't reach my goal today. We are supposed to get $80. I got $0 of $80 raised. That's fine. I'll keep on ticking. Take my licking, still licking. I keep on ticking. I skunked myself. Oh man, I skunked out. So okay, one like, and I think 3 people came in the room one time. So I appreciate you reading or watching this. Read Ruler of the Kingdom of the Air. See what happens when I'll let you know who won. I'll read all three of the stories that placed or won, and I'll try to get to the runners up too. I may be somewhere in that conversation. So I thank you for watching. I appreciate your time. Take care.